Okay, good morning, everybody. So hopefully you're doing well today. We are going to continue our discussion in Chapter 4, Section 1, and this is going to be the last video of this chapter and section, and it deals with a couple things. The first thing we're going to talk about are how to graph horizontal lines. So as you can see right here, we have a couple of equations. It's simply y equals 5, and we also have y equals -4. So let's start with the y equals 5. If you would take this equation for a second and actually write the y equals mx plus b underneath of it, and then I would write y equals 5 like this. What I want you to see is where the 5 lines up with the various parts of slope-intercept form. And what you should see from what I just wrote is that the 5 actually lines up with the b. And the reason why that it lines up with the b is what in this equation, y equals 5x, y equals 5, actually had is it had a 0x plus 5. And you can see here that 0 times x would be 0. And so this would actually cancel out the x term altogether, which is why you just end up with y equals 5. And so as we've talked about for the last few days, when you have a 0 slope, that gives us a horizontal line. And so these are very easy to graph. Simply put a dot on the y-axis at 5. So starting at the origin, if I count up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put a big dot right there, you can see now that that is on 5, which is on the y-axis, and then you can simply draw a horizontal line through that. And there you go. That is your graph of y equals 5. Very easy. Similarly, if we have y equals -4, the slope of this line is also 0 because there would have been a 0x and the 0 would have canceled the x altogether. So you can just count from the origin down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put a dot right there. Draw yourself a horizontal line, and you've got your graph of y equals -4. Now, the other special case scenario that we have is the equations where it's x equals. Now, these do not match up with slope-intercept form. If you see slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, you can see right here the x is buried with the m. And in this case, we do not have a y at all in this equation. So this is the special case scenario. So when you have just x equals 2, nothing else with it, you start at the origin, you go to the right 2, and you put a dot. And then the last thing that you need to remember is that this would be a vertical line and its slope would be undefined. And so you just draw a vertical line through the point that you put on the x-axis. Part H is going to be the same. I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to move left 3 to -3 on the x-axis. And once I move to -3 on the x-axis, I'm going to draw a vertical line through there and then draw my arrows on the end of the line, and we have the graph of x equals -3. So the hardest part of these is just remembering which is which, right? So if it's just y equals, it's going to be horizontal. And if it's just x equals, it's going to be vertical. Now, the second part of this I want to show you is how to solve a couple of real-world examples that you will have on your next assessment. So let's take a look here. Okay, so real-world examples. It says the Band Boosters are selling sandwiches for $5 each, and then they bought $1,160 in ingredients. And so they would like us to write an equation for the profit P made on N sandwiches. So the way that you get profit is equal to your revenue minus cost. Okay, so let's talk about what each of those is. Revenue is all the money coming in, all the money, right? So if somebody buys a sandwich, they hand you money. Cost, this word, this C right here, this cost is how much all of the materials cost you to buy. So when you sell something, unless you made it from scratch, you had money invested in time and materials to make whatever you're making. And so if you take how much money you have coming in and you subtract away the money that you spent to get that, what you're left with is your profit. And you hope that your profit is a positive number, right? So if your profit is negative, that means you're losing money. So let's look here. So they want an equation. So as we said, we have profit equals revenue minus cost. So for profit equals revenue minus cost. We don't know what our profit is going to be. We do know the revenue, so that's money coming in. And if you look, we sell the sandwiches for $5 each. Now, we do not know the number of sandwiches. It's N. We don't know how many we're going to sell, but we do know that we're going to make $5 for every sandwich that we sell. So the revenue that we're going to make is 5 times N, which is the number of sandwiches. So if we sell 2 sandwiches, we make $10. If we sell 10 sandwiches, we're going to make $50. Now our cost, we spent $1,160 on materials, on ingredients to make those sandwiches. So we need to subtract our cost away from our total profit. So right here is the equation that we would use. Profit is equal to 5 times N, where N is the number of sandwiches, minus 1,160. And so now the second part would like us to find the total profit if we sell 1,400 sandwiches. And so we have already said that N is the number of sandwiches. So this number right here is going to get put in for N. So profit is equal to 5 times 1,400 minus 1,060. So the first thing we need to do is multiply those two numbers together. So profit is equal to, and so we will have 0, 0, 0, 7. So 5 times 1,400 is 7,000. Now, when I do 7,000 minus 1,160, I get 5,840. And so that is going to be our profit. And if you notice, that number is positive, which is a good thing. So that means we actually made some money. Okay, so real world example number 2. It says Randy is buying a new stereo system for his car using Jack's stereo layaway program. And right here you can see what the layaway program entails. It says it's $75 down and then $10 every week. So it says write an equation for the total amount S that he has paid after W weeks. So the total amount is what we're going to set everything equal to. So the total amount is S, and W is the number of weeks. So let's kind of do a simple scenario here. After 1 week, let's figure out how much Randy would have paid. So after 1 week, you can see it says $75 down and $10 each week. So after 1 week, Randy will have paid 75 plus an additional 10. So would have paid a total of $85. After 2 weeks, you would have still had paid the $75 down, but then you would have paid $10 2 more times. So that would have given us a total of $95. So what I want you to see from this is which is the reoccurring cost? What is adding up week after week after week? And that is this $10 each week. This $10 each week is making it so every time a week goes by, we pay an additional $10. And so that right there is going to be our M. So remember, in Y equals MX plus B, here's the thing to keep in mind. This is the reoccurring. if I can spell reoccurring correctly. So M is the reoccurring cost. B is the one-time cost. So it's important to keep that in mind as we're working through these problems, which number goes where. So M is going to be the cost that we see or we have to pay over and over again. B is one time. And so as I look through here, this $75 down, that's a one-time payment. So that is going to be my B. The $10 is going to be my each week. That's the reoccurring cost. So that right there tells us what we need to know. So the equation is going to be S equals 10W plus 75. Now, if I were to go back into this last one for a second, if I would go by the reoccurring cost and the one-time cost, this $5 right here, every time we sell a sandwich, we're going to make $5. That is the reoccurring cost. That is M. The one-time cost is going to be this right here, this 1,160, because we only pay that one time and then we have all the ingredients that we need. And so if you look at this last equation that I have circled in y equals mx plus b, you can see the M is 5, which is the reoccurring cost, and the B is 1,160 because that's the one-time cost. So moving back to this problem, it says find out how much Randy will have paid after 8 weeks. So we need to take this number 8 and put it in for W. So we have S equals 10 times 8 plus 75. Now 10 times 8 is 80. And 80 plus 75 is going to be, let's see here, take 25, 155. So that means after 8 weeks, Randy will have paid $155. So, all right, guys, that's what I got for you today. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Have a great day.